Chill. I didn't win a national. All right.
They were good.
They very good. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing. 'Tis our country too. Oh, sons of the sun, the burnt ones, from God's golden shore, save America once more. Save her again. Despite her brandons and beatings, her chattel and chains, save her again. Despite her deprivation and ditches, her faults and frailties, save her again. Despite her lynchings and lies, her torture and torment, oh, sons of the sun, 'tis our country too.
Terrorists within. No need to fear Russia, China, or Iran. No need to fear any foreign man. The greatest enemy to our democracy are the terrorists in our land. Why fear Russia, China, or Iran, or mass weapons in their hand? The greatest threat to our nation is the Trumpism spirit spreading throughout our land. Why build a wall to bar immigrants or create an international ban? It is the neo-fascists within that we the people must reprimand. August 30th, 2020.
Now,
Okay. Go ahead.
okay. This point is entitled The Racist Myth. Don't harbor the myth in your head. Don't feel guilty about what the media said. White supremacy is a promulgated lie. It is a false premise that just won't die. The false conclusions are void of truth, but the lie is passed down to the youth. Remember, bigotry plus power equals racism. Autocratic greed and ambition drives the unstoppable schism. So don't harbor the myth in your head. Don't feel guilty or be afraid. But whiteness doesn't make one a racist, just as blackness doesn't make one a criminal. Only bigots with power can be racist. That's what my shirt came out of.
That come with the color. So like the actual bigotry and the power that came with them. And
Yeah.
so
But if
it's
you
like
read my card,
yeah.
the card tells you, explain what I mean by it, because bigotry is something that's actually trained. You're trained to be a bigot, from a kid up. So you can be, like I told a group of white people I were talking to, I said, well, I'm not saying that you're racist. I said, but you could be a bigot. I'm not saying you're racist, but you could be prejudiced. But the idea is that bigotry is of the heart. So it's like a sin. It's something I can't forgive you for. And that's what I told them. I can't forgive you for that because it's of the heart. Only God can forgive you for what is in the heart. The prejudice is something, as the card indicates, of the mind. And that is created through the images that people paint of us. They don't know you. Maybe they haven't learned to even hate you. But they have seen so many negative images about this thing coming in from TV, from all that, and people tend to show the negative things about us. They don't come to you and find out that you're a biochemist, right? They're not going to interview you about your business and here's a young person doing these great things, or this person doing that. You're not going to see that on television, You're not going to see, they're not going to come here and talk to me, about anything in my surroundings, but they'll show this trash on the street in a ghetto someplace, you see. So these are images, and these images is what fashion the prejudice. You become prejudged before the people even get to know your character and who you are. So you mix those two things together, still they're not racist. But it's when you give them power and control that they become racist. And racism is something that can impede your progress. Those are racists. So they are the people that make the laws. They are your judges. They are your educators that can fail you when you make an A. They can give you what? Yeah, that's power, right? That's where the racism is. And that's what I'm trying to focus people's attention on, so that you're not distracted by every little thing somebody does. You can just throw it off and say, that you. Because when Floyd was killed, my neighbor across the street ran over here. He has 3 little girls, he's white. He ran over here, tears was rolling down his face. He said, you're the only person I can talk to. He said, this is horrible, this is horrible. And I said, come on in, sit down, we'll talk about it. And I talked about it. He said, what can I do? I haven't done anything. But he felt that he was guilty of something just because he was white based on what another man had done. You see? And so we don't want to reinforce that with people, you know. We don't want to meet people, every person we meet, that this person is racist, or a person look at us the wrong way, or old lady catches her purse when she's in the elevator with you. That's not necessarily racism. So that's what I try to do, and that's what that poem was trying to teach. I hope that's what came out of it.
I was at a museum yesterday and I was reading off all the things, and I felt so literate and fancy. Trying to stumble with my words. Everyone got it? Shades of justice. It is not the melanin man's crime that determines his innocence or guilt, but his sentence is determined based on the cases prosecutors have built. It is not the colored man's crime that determines his time in jail, but he is sent to time in prison because there's no one to go his bail. It is not the Negro's man's crime that lands him time on death row, but his fate is often determined based on whether he is rich or poor. It was not the black man's crime that made lynching his final fate, but it was the mobs of judges and juries that was filled with fear and hate. It is not the African American man's crime that provokes his horrific death, but it is the policeman's racist motives that deplete the drain his breath. It is not the pale man's crime that seals his guilty plight, but judge seal his innocent claim because his skin is white. Poor melanin men are sentenced to life in incarceration at a higher rate. Wealthy pale men are sentenced to life and rehabilitation as their ultimate fate. It's an unexplainable feeling, something that could tone nations or break them. It has the ability to compromise even the strongest of those who come in contact with it, can bring out the deepest emotion within anyone's soul, and can reveal the most vital secrets. A weapon of mass destruction, but a tool for healing. It is within itself the single most powerful thing in the world. It wraps you with its keys, giving a warmth you never thought you could have. It loves and fights, passion and pain. It'll wrap you in an inescapable void. It lives and breathes with no rules or temperance, apologizes to no one, roams as it will, and even so, the non-hearing can feel its grace within their palms, and it fills them up like nothing else can. Minor things can bring excitement and fear once it enters from ear to ear. In the distance, I hear a symphony of one man who strikes the keys and plays everything. I see the world bloom like a flower. It plants seeds that grow with rain clouds to stream, and it blossoms with no regard for what it springs from. It can mount from nothing and spawn into everything. If you never knew what love felt like, this will give you that feeling. Nothing else will bring a sensation like such. It can unite the world with one single note, the message captured by a sweet grace, leaving us with toothaches begging for more. We shut it down and turn it back on, and still it never leaves us. We cannot escape when we wouldn't want to. We are forever bound with the sweetest sound, the irreparable sound, and we call it music.
Oh, wow.